there is a kind of silence that only comes when you feel defeated. Not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, suffocating silence where your thoughts become louder than the world around you. In 2008, during the height of the global financial crisis, a man sat alone in a small apartment, staring at a pile of bills he could not pay. The lights were dim, the room was cold, and the future felt painfully uncertain. His name was Howard Schultz. Long before his name became synonymous with one of the most recognizable brands on earth, he was just another man questioning his choices. That night, Howard didn't feel powerful. He felt trapped. He had done everything he was told to do. Worked hard, stayed disciplined, chased opportunity, and yet, here he was, exhausted, anxious, and afraid. He leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes, and asked a question that millions of people ask every day but rarely say out loud. Why does it feel like no matter how hard I run and I'm still standing still? That question would quietly mark the beginning of a transformation. Not a financial transformation at first, but a mental one. And that mental shift would eventually change his life forever. This is not a story about coffee. This is a story about money mindset, and how changing the way you think about money can quietly, but permanently, change the trajectory of your life. Howard Schultz did not grow up dreaming of becoming wealthy. He grew up dreaming of feeling safe. He was raised in a public housing complex in Brooklyn, New York. The hallways were narrow, the walls were thin, and money was always tight. His father worked multiple low-paying jobs, delivery driver, factory worker, with no health insurance and no financial protection. Then one winter day, everything collapsed. His father slipped on ice and broke his ankle. No work meant no pay. No pay meant no food security. Bills piled up on the kitchen table. Howard watched his parents argue in whispers at night, trying to shield their children from fear and failing. In that moment, young Howard learned something that would stay with him for life. Poverty is not just about lacking money, it is about lacking choices. And so he made a silent vow: I will never live like this again. It was a powerful promise, but it was also incomplete. Because when fear becomes your motivation, money stops being a tool and becomes an obsession. As an adult, Howard did exactly what society rewarded. He studied hard, he networked, he climbed the corporate ladder. Each promotion felt like progress. Each paycheck felt like relief. But relief never lasted. The anxiety always returned. Because deep down, Howard realized something unsettling. His entire financial life depended on someone else's approval. One decision, one downturn, one rejection, and everything could disappear. This is the first money illusion most people live under. If I earn more, I will feel secure. But income without control does not create freedom, it creates dependence. Howard wasn't poor anymore, but he wasn't free either. One day, Howard stopped asking the wrong question. He stopped asking, how can I make more money? And started asking, why does money still feel so fragile in my life? That question exposed a painful truth. He had been chasing money the same way his father chased stability, without ownership, without leverage, without control. This realization shook him. Because it meant the problem wasn't his effort, it was his mindset. In 1983, Howard traveled to Italy. He expected good coffee. What he found was something deeper. He noticed how coffee shops were woven into daily life. They weren't transactional, they were emotional. People gathered, talked, connected. And in that moment, Howard experienced a quiet but profound shift. Money follows meaning. Coffee wasn't the product, connection was. Belonging was. And suddenly, Howard saw money not as something to chase, but as something that flows toward value. Vision does not pay bills. Belief does not eliminate doubt. Howard returned home inspired and broke. Investors laughed at the idea. People won't pay that much for coffee. Rejection followed rejection. At one point, Howard had to choose between paying rent and continuing the business. Fear returned. But something had changed. He no longer saw failure as proof of inadequacy. He saw it as feedback. This is a critical mindset shift. Emotionally mature people use failure as information. Emotionally trapped people use it as identity. Howard chose growth. Most people sell their time. Howard decided to build value. Instead of asking how much he could earn, he asked, "How deeply can I serve?" He invested in quality, culture, experience. He treated employees as partners, not costs. This decision slowed profits, but it built loyalty. And loyalty compounds. Why most people never escape financial stress. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail financially because they are lazy. They fail because they never upgrade their beliefs. Beliefs like, "I'm not good with money. I'll invest later." This is just how life is. Howard challenged every belief he inherited and replaced them with intentional thinking. Let's slow this down. Because mindset only matters if you can actually live it. You don't need complicated strategies. You don't need insider knowledge. You need clarity. Here are the money mindset principles translated into real life. 1. Control creates calm. Most financial stress comes from one thing: too much dependence. One income, one employer, one fragile source. When you increase control, anxiety decreases. Control comes from skills you can take anywhere, income you influence, not just receive, choices you are not afraid to make. You don't need 10 income streams. You need one more source of control than you have today. That alone changes how you breathe. 2. Value always comes before money. Money does not respond to desperation. It responds to usefulness. Ask yourself, what problem can I solve better? The better you solve problems, the more valuable you become. And value compounds, even when money is slow. 3. Think in years, not paydays. Short-term thinking keeps people trapped. Long-term thinking quietly sets people free. Before any financial decision, pause and ask, will this help the person I want to be in 5 years? If the answer is no, reconsider. This single filter eliminates thousands of bad decisions. 4. Give your money a job. Money without direction disappears. Money with intention multiplies. Every dollar should serve one purpose: stability, growth, freedom. When money knows where to go, stress knows where to leave. 5. Become before you receive. Financial success starts with identity. You don't wait to feel confident to act disciplined. You act disciplined, and confidence follows. Behave like the person you are becoming. Money eventually catches up. Success that felt different. Years passed, Starbucks expanded across cities, countries, cultures, but Howard understood something most people miss. Money was not the victory. Freedom was. He no longer woke up afraid of losing everything. Because his life was built on value, not fragility, on ownership, not dependency, on intention, not reaction. And that is the quiet definition of wealth. What this story means for you. You may never build a global company. You don't have to. But you do have the same opportunity Howard had: to change how you think, to stop reacting to money and start directing it, to stop chasing security and start building it. The moment you upgrade your mindset, your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your life follows. Most people think success is built in big moments: a promotion, a breakthrough, a sudden opportunity. But Howard knew the truth. Wealth is created in invisible moments. The quiet evenings when you choose to learn instead of escape. The uncomfortable decisions where you say no to short-term pleasure. The discipline to keep showing up when no one is watching. No applause, no guarantees, just consistency. This is where most people quit. Not because it's hard, but because it's quiet. And yet, this is where freedom is forged. Before Howard became successful, before the recognition, before the wealth, he answered one question honestly. Am I willing to change who I am becoming? Not what he earned, not what he owned, but who he was. Because money does not follow wishes, it follows identity. If you think like someone trapped, you will act trapped. If you think like someone building freedom, your actions change. And when your actions change long enough, results become inevitable. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You need a decision to stop living on autopilot, a decision to upgrade how you think about money. One day, you will look back at this phase of your life, and you will realize it wasn't lack of money that held you back. It was outdated thinking. Change the thinking, and the money will follow. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to the channel, because your relationship with money is about to change.